Who created God?
Who created God? So this is a question I actually get several times from students when they're trying to figure out, like, understand God. And you think of like Greek mythology when you got all these different gods like Zeus and Ares and all these things, and they all have like parents, and then their parents had parents, and there's like Titans and different all these different gods.
Oh, it's weird.
Crazy. And so, and that type of idea, God can have. There's someone who created God, but
Yeah.
Christianity is different from that. And the Christian God and the traditional monotheistic ideas of God, and usually what people are talking about when they talk about God nowadays is a God that has been here for all eternity. William Lane Craig talks about that God has this attribute of aseity, which is he has self-existence, that he's existed for all eternity. That if you're asking who created God, that means you just don't understand who God is, that he's a necessary being, that he was the being that has been there forever, and he's uncreated, eternal in power, perfect in wisdom, all present, all knowing, and all these things. And so who created God? No one. God has just always been. That God reveals himself in Exodus chapter 3 to Moses, that I am who I am, that God isn't a God who was or who will be. He just is. He just, I am. That's just kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. And it makes sense, though, that when you think of our reality, there has to be something outside of it. There has to be a point where it stops, where there is this being that has existed for all time and before time, and that just, like you said, it's this infinite, eternal, I'm not even saying it correctly, but just you can't have creation, because eventually you get back to nothing. So there has to just be a something.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's a someone. And
Yeah.
so this is just really cool.
And so God is the kind of like the greatest being you could ever imagine. So if you're like imagining God, but you can imagine something greater than that, then that actually is God, not the thing that you were first imagining. And so you got to think about, what is the greatest thing I could ever imagine that was uncreated and been there forever? Well, that's God, and he's actually greater than that, because God's greater than our imagination.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy.
So cool.
So thanks for listening.